What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, I'm gonna show you some of the useful tool that you can use when selecting an object. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm gonna create a new project here. I'll just create just an architectural template, then select OK. And then some of the people who is just starting Revit find it difficult when they select an object. Okay, it's because they are not familiar with this tool that I'm gonna show you. Okay, if you are going to look at the top left, you can see there's the select drop down there. If you click that, you will see here different options for your selection. Actually, these tools can also be found here on the lower right corner. Okay, so you also have select links, select underlay, select pinned elements, and then select elements by face. Okay, so it's the same as here. Okay, so how this option works. So the first thing is select links. So from the name itself, so it says here, it allows you to select links and their elements. So click once to select the entire link and all of its element. Okay, so to select an individual element in the link file, so move the cursor over the element and you can use the press tab to highlight and click to select it. Okay, so let's try this one out. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create a new project here. I'm going to quickly create a model that I'll be using to link in our project. Okay, so let's say I'll just create a wall here. Okay, wall height. Okay, oops. So wall up to level 1. Okay, and then I'll just create a rectangular wall. Okay, and I'm going to put some door. DR. Okay, so there's my door, and that's it. So I'll just save this. I'll just put it on my document. So link, and then select OK, save. Right, so after that, I'll just close this one. Alright, so to link, let's go to insert and then link Revit. So you click that and then click the link. So maybe I'll just use manual so I can move my cursor. Okay, that's it. And then pick and then select modify. Right. Now, the next thing that I'll be doing, this is now my link model. So as you can see, there are some instances, why is it I can't select my link model? Okay, some of the users starts to wonder why. So they are having a problem. Okay, so I encountered this one because some of my students, some of my subscribers are having this kind of problem. Okay, so little they didn't know that the only solution for this one is the selection tool here. So maybe it's because select links here is unchecked. That is why you can't select your link model. Or as you can see here at the lower right corner, it's X. There's a red X. So meaning it is disabled. So all you have to do is to click that icon, or you can go to select and then tick that select links. When you click that, and you are now all good. You will now be able to select. So that's the first option, select links. Okay. Of course, the standard is if you are going to link your model to a project. So let's say you have MEP and then you link your architectural project. Standard is you pin your link model. So you click that and then you pin it so that you don't move it accidentally. So that's another way of not moving your object accidentally or your link accidentally. So you just pin that, or if you do not want to pin, so what you do is just uncheck this one. just uncheck select links. So if you do not want to pin your object, so just uncheck select link. But best practice, make sure you select your link model and then you pin that one. Okay, right, there you go. So there's the first option. Now the next option here is this one, select underlay elements. Okay, so select underlay elements. So if you have an element that is underlay to your project, you will not be able to select that if select underlay elements here is unchecked. Okay, so it allows you to select elements in the underlay of a view. To avoid accidentally selecting underlay elements in the view, disable this option. Right, so for us to be able to use your select underlay elements, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project. So let's say, for example, I'll create a mechanical template here, a mechanical project using mechanical template. So I will select here, okay. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to link my architectural model. So let's go to the insert, let's go to link, and then let's go to our link model. Again, I'll just open and then place it. Okay, and then after that, again, by default, I can select this because my select links here is disabled. Okay, so now I check that one, so I can now select my link. And by the way, you can see here, there's information also that if you want to select an individual elements in the link, you just need to hover your pointer or move your cursor over the element. So let's say you want to know what is this type of door. So what you do is you hover your pointer over that element and then press tab. And there you go. So it's now highlighted. So once it highlights, you can click that and then you will be able to see the property of that element, right? So that's how you do it. And when you link an object in Revit to your MEP, so you can control that with this one, select links. Now, let's say, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a wall here. Okay, I'm gonna add a wall. So I go to my wall tool. So let's say I'll create an architectural object. So when you create an architectural model in your MEP project, by default, it will becomes underlay. Okay, so like for example, I create a wall here, something like that. And then I'll select here modify. So by default, this wall here will becomes underlay. And then you will notice as I hover my pointer, I can't select, right? So it's not a link model, but how come I can't select it? Why? Because your select underlay elements here is unchecked. Remember, if you are in MEP project and then you add an architectural elements, okay? So you will be converting that element into an underlay. So automatically Revit will read it as an underlay. So how about if we create a structural element? So let's say wall. So let's try this one out. So I'll just create one here. And then I'll select modify. You will notice so it's also an underlay element because you are in an MEP project. Now, how can we select these elements? There you go. So you just need to tick select underlay elements, or you just need to click that icon. Okay, just click that to disable or to enable, and then there you go. You will now be able to select it. And another problem that I encounter to starters in Revit is that sometimes when they create a line, especially model line, so if you click model line, this is also an underlay by default. So let's say I create a rectangle. Let's say I'll just create one here. And then I click modify to terminate. Again, I can select now because underlay is enabled, select underlay. But if this is disabled, you will not be able to select that because by default, Revit will read it as an underlay. Okay, so that's how you disable the selection of your underlay, and that's how you enable. So enable and disable the selection underlay is this tool here. Okay, so we know that already. So we know the select links, and then we know the select underlay elements. Okay, so how about the select pinned elements? So this is, again, pretty explanatory, self-explanatory, sorry. So it allows you to select pinned elements in a view. Okay, so let's say, for example, this is my link model. So currently my link model here is checked, so that's why I can select it. And notice that select pinned elements here is unchecked. So if I'm gonna select this link model and then I'm going to pin that, you will notice I will not be able to select that, right? The link model. Although the link model here is checked, but select pinned elements here is unchecked, and then this element is pinned. So that's why I can select it. So again, some users are having this kind of beginner's problem. So they can select the element that they have pinned. Why? Because this tool is disabled. Select pinned elements is disabled. So all you have to do is to check that one or uncheck if you do not want to select the pinned elements. So after I check that one, I can now select it again. Right? So let's try again. So let's pin this wall. So let's click that. Let's pin that. Okay, so right now I can select, but if I disable this, can't select it anymore. Now, if I'm going to enable this, but if I disable the select underlay elements, I cannot select that as well. Okay, so you just need to understand how these things works. Anyway, from the name itself, it's pretty self-explanatory. The other one is select elements by face. Okay, so let's say in the 3D view, here's my 3D view. So there are some, I'll just go back again to my arch model here. Okay, so here in the 3D view of my architectural model. So, okay, so this is a link model. So I'll just go open the link model. So open and unload. Oops, why I can't unload? All right, okay. So let me now open that link model. All right. Okay, so here's now my architectural model. So let me go to 3D view. Okay, so this is useful, especially if you want to quickly select the object. Okay, because previously we don't have this option, select elements by face. These tools, we don't have that. Now, if I'm gonna select here, select elements by face, you will notice if you move your pointer to the face, automatically it will highlight. Okay, so before, you need to select the edge of the object for you to be able to select it. Now, with this option, all you have to do is to move your pointer on the face rather than the edge. Okay, so let's try this one out. So let's uncheck that. Let me just uncheck these things. Okay, so in this example, you will notice that even if the select elements by face is unchecked, you are still able to select it, which is useful, right? Okay, so let's say I will edit the wall. So I can select that and then I can edit the profile for that one. And then you can now create an opening. Let's say, for example, here, and then just check. Okay, so if ever you are having a difficulty selecting the face of an object, so make sure you check select elements by face so that when you move your pointer to the face of an object, like for example of a door, you can click the face straight away. Not only on the architectural elements, but also to your MEP elements or structural elements like the face of your duct. So instead of selecting the edges of the duct, so you just need to pick select elements by face, and then you will be able to click the face of the duct. So if this is unchecked, the select elements by face, again, this is that icon. Okay, so as you can see, I can select the face of the wall. It just so happened in this wall here, I can still select it, which is pretty handy, right? But anyway, you see this door here, so I can pick the face of the door. So if I'm going to select elements by face, so I can now click it. Okay? Right? So this is useful to uncheck if you don't want to accidentally click an object and then move it unknowingly, right? So right now I can select the face, so I can't select it accidentally and move it. Okay, so these are the tools that you can use for your selection tools. So you have the select links, select underlay elements, select pinned elements, and select elements by face. The last one here is drag elements by on selection. Okay, so if this is checked, let me just go to my floor plan. So you can click and drag. So click, and just hold your left click and then you can drag, right? So if this is unchecked, let me use this. So I'll just disable. If this is disabled, if you click the object and then hold your left click, you cannot drag, right? Like that. See? Click and drag. You can't do that. Click and drag. You can't do. But if I'm going to enable it, click, and then I can now click and drag. Right? Click and drag. Click and drag. So you can do that. So that's how you use your drag elements on selection. So you can deselect that, disable. So you can click and then you cannot drag, right? Click, oops. You click the object, hold your left click and drag. You can't do that, okay? Unless you click and then you move your pointer again and drag it. So you can do that, of course, but at selection and drag, you can't do that. So click and drag, you can't do that if this is disabled. So you just need to tick that so you can click and drag. Okay? So that's it for this simple video, but this is very useful. So these tools are very useful when doing your designing. Okay, so these selection tools. So hopefully you learned something from this video. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.